Welcome in, Hornets fans. You are watching a special edition of Hive Talk Live, our summer video breakdown, where we're looking at some of the newest additions for your Charlotte Hornets and seeing a little bit about what they can bring to the table. I'm joined here with a special guest today, Coach Dwyane Cherry from Charlotte Country Day School. Coach, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
We're going to take a look at a couple guys, Jeremy Lin, today, and specifically his perimeter defense. Now, he's probably not going to make a lot of first team all defensive ballots, but Lin brings to the table some length, some size and quickness that the Hornets probably didn't have last year, and haven't seen, a point guard in particular of his size since you go back to Sean Livingston, probably. So he's going to give Steve Clifford some extra tools to utilize specifically on that perimeter. And we're going to take a look at a couple of plays here today that'll give us some good examples of that. This first one here, we go back to a game against the San Antonio Spurs, and he's checking Tony Parker in this play. And if you'll watch him, he is following him for the duration of that 24-second shot clock. And he really goes through the gamut of every responsibility that you can think of when he's guarding a point guard in this play. I mean, he guards him for the entire play and ends up making Tony Parker put up a nice contested shot. Dwyane, what'd you see there that you really liked?
Well, the first thing that grabs my attention is as soon as Tony gives the ball up, Lin works real hard to make Tony put forth a lot of effort to get the ball back. And throughout the course of a game, that's going to tire the opposing point guard out. So that was the first thing that got my attention. Secondly was when he got rubbed off the screen, he didn't give up. He immediately tried to recover. And on the shot, if you see, he didn't really try to block the shot. He more so just put his hand up, knows that he has the height advantage, the reach advantage over Parker. So it was more so of just trying to distract his shot and make Tony put up a bad shot. And it worked because Tony put up a forced shot, missed shot, Lakers get the rebound.
Yeah, and you know what I really like about this is he's on him the whole time, and he's bouncing off screens. And particularly here, he knows they're trying to get the ball to Tony Parker, and he's got to stay on him. Now, this is early in the game. I mean, it's one of the first possessions, so he's got a lot of energy to expend. But still, that's a long possession, and Lin picks his spots where he can maybe take a little rest. You see, he gets back here once Parker has the ball, and this is when he's really locked in. There's not much else Parker can do at this point. And the thing here that you want to watch out for is Lin, his defensive efficiency at the rim last year, opponent's field goal percentage he was the highest on the Lakers in that particular category, which means he's forcing these guys into tougher shots. And with his length, I think he can bother them a little bit more.
Exactly. And the thing that I liked also was where Tony had to catch the basketball. So now whatever set the Spurs were trying to get into, they had to initiate it a long way from the basket, which sort of threw it off because now Duncan has to come set the screen out further than probably he would like to. So the fact that he made him work so hard to get the ball and Tony had to catch it such a great distance from the basket really threw the whole set off, and they end up not getting a good shot.
Yeah, and we've got a couple other clips here, and I wanted to look at a few, specifically with some of the top point guards in the league, and you got Tony Parker here. Our next one, we'll look at John Wall, who may be the quickest guy with the ball in the league. Certainly laterally, he's a hard guy to stay in front of.
Definitely.
And he's a little bit taller, a little bit lankier with those long arms. And once he starts going somewhere, he's going. And you'll see Jeremy Lin do a nice job here. All he does is just stand in front of him. You see right here, he's fighting over that screen, Dwyane, and he's really trying to bother that shot.
Well, definitely, and he knows Wall is a great athlete. He knows John wants to attack the basket. And as you can see, even right here, when that screen comes, Lin gives him the jump shot. So he runs under the screen knowing that Wall is not a great shooter, that I can afford to go under the screen because I'm playing him for the drive. So the entire time he's guarding John Wall right here, he knows John wants to attack the basket. John's first option is not to settle for the jump shot. So here he goes under, pretty much giving him the three-point shot.
Right.
He knows John is attacking, so when he comes off of the screen, Lin is already in position. And again, he does a great job of contesting the shot without fouling.
Yeah, and he takes John Wall into where the help is, right? So he sees the screen coming, obviously, and as you said, goes under that, does give up that opportunity, but he takes him right into the heart of the Lakers defense. Now, whoever you've got behind Lin at that point, it's going to make a difference.
That's a great point.
But Lin is still following him. I mean, he could have stopped, as you see, I think the Lakers interior post guy is right there, but Lynn goes right around him to make sure he challenges the shot. And that's something Steve Clifford's going to love.
Oh, he's going to love that. And that's what we've seen in these first two clips so far, is that even if Lynn gets beat by a step or two, he doesn't quit. He doesn't give up. And I mean, the thing is, playing at Harvard, playing for Tommy Amaker, who obviously played for Coach K,
right.
Great man-to-man defensive coach. I'm sure Lynn has those fundamentals that he learned from Coach Amaker, which he's bringing into the NBA.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, Lynn has talked about wanting to improve a lot of facets of his game, and we're not looking at any plays, from the Linsanity era. There was a lightning in a bottle back in New York. He's commented on this. He's done a lot of improvement and tried to work on areas. He mentioned a lot more on the offensive side of the ball, but you can see in these plays what he brings to the table from a defensive standpoint, especially at the point guard position, but also he's going to be able to guard some of those two guards because Clifford has mentioned playing Lynn and Kemba Walker together. And you can do that if you've got Lynn's extra length out there at times.
Exactly.
Now, this last play here, he's going to check Elfrid Payton right from across half court. And you're going to see him stay on the ball and really guard Payton to play against his strengths. I mean, he's going to give Payton the shot a lot of times, but you can see right from the beginning here, Coach, he's going to stay right in front of him, and he's going for the steal.
Definitely. And I think also right here on this clip, when you see him guarding Payton, I think this is a respect issue. I think Lynn is pretty much saying right here, you have a young guard who's new to the league. Lynn, although he's bounced around some, he feels like he's put his time in, and he's more so of a veteran compared to Payton. And right here, I think this is just a lack of respect. He's showing the young guy, you can't get by me. I'm going to apply good ball pressure and stay in front of you. Forces him to his right hand and does another great job of contesting the shot, even blocks the shot on this one. But I think more so when he was matched up with Payton right here, he knows I've put more time in the league than you have. And I'm just going to get up in your shorts, fight over the screen, and I'm going to have to make you work so you can get a good shot.
Yeah, exactly. And he averaged about a half a block a game last year. I think maybe 32 blocks for the season, which for your point guard, you get a half a block a game, you take that.
Take that.
And Clifford's going to take that all day.
Definitely.
A little over a steal a game, and you can see like you said, he's picking his places because he knows this is a rookie. He knows if he gives him a little body, a little nudge, maybe he can knock him off his game. And that's some of the veteran smarts that you're also going to get with Jeremy Lin.
And he knows the young guy's trying to prove something. He knows you have an isolation set right there, and he wants to prove that he can play with some of the veteran guards in the league. So he looks forward to a matchup like that. And then Lin didn't start a lot of games last year either. So a lot of times as a backup point guard coming off the bench, if you're not going to show that you belong by scoring, you have to show it on the defensive end. So as you can see in these first few clips, he took a lot of pride in his defense.
Yeah, and we mentioned before, there hasn't been a point guard with this type of length since a guy like Sean Livingston. Obviously, Steve Clifford wasn't here at that point. He's had a Brian Roberts to work with, Kemba Walker, obviously. But what is this going to do for Steve Clifford, having a guy with this much more length and the agility and the ability to go laterally on defense?
Well, Clifford's a defensive-minded coach, and so to have a guy like this who's going to put forth this effort on defense, it'll be contagious to some of the other guys because Clifford will reward that defensive effort with playing time. So as you say, you can pair him up with a Kemba Walker. Now Kemba doesn't have to guard the best scoring guard on the other team. That'll give him a break on the defensive end. You have Lin who can take that matchup, being a little longer, a little taller than Kemba. So this will provide that matchup that Clifford probably really didn't have last year, to where you can put Lin on their best perimeter threat for the other team.
Yeah, and Clifford mentioned this this offseason. They wanted to get more shooting. They wanted to get a little more talent, but they wanted to get guys who could really impact both on offense and defense, on playmaking. And Lin, I think, is a guy that can do both of those things. We haven't looked at his offense here today, but he's going to be able to create a little bit more than some of the guys they've had in the past. And you can trust him to go out there and, like you said, guard maybe the team, the opposing team's either top two guard or point guard.
Or point guard, yes. And so that'll give Kemba a break too, because now if you're going against a team who has a point guard like a Damian Lillard, John Wall, who's going to really look for their shot and be aggressive, you can take Kemba off of that matchup. Not so much let him rest on defense, but avoid foul trouble. He can conserve a little energy that he's going to save for offense because he's looking for his shot as well. Give Jeremy Lin that assignment. Yeah,
and the last thing on Lin, I just want to point out, obviously he's playing for the Lakers last year. It was a tough go of it for LA. But on the plus side, he was probably one of those veteran presence. He's bringing that to this locker room. That's the other thing that I think the Hornets want to get back to, was some good locker room presence, guys. They had a lot of a lot of issues last year. That stuff just didn't work out. But bringing in guys like Jeremy Lin, who have been in tough situations, who are glad to be in Charlotte, I think it's just going to be a win for everybody involved.
Definitely, I think so. And Charlotte has a young team. You know, you look at their roster. Al Jefferson just turned 30. He's like the old guy on the team. I think Jason Maxill is 32 years old. Everybody else is pretty much under 30. And so you get a guy like this who has that experience of, if you play in LA, whether you make the playoffs or not, you're in big game situations.
That's true.
And you're playing under a lot of pressure every night. And playing with Kobe Bryant isn't the easiest thing as well. So being able to endure a season playing with Kobe, you can bring that experience and whatever you learn from that Laker organization, bring it to Charlotte.
Yeah, and he mentioned that. You know, he thought he was working hard and he thought he was doing a lot of the right things. But you get with a guy like Kobe Bryant, and you just see that intense effort that he puts in every day. So that's going to be another good thing. Well, this has been our look at Jeremy Lin and a little bit of what he's going to bring on the defensive end to the Charlotte Hornets next year. And be sure to tune in on Tuesdays starting in September, a regular time on the internet and on your local podcast app. HiveTalkLive.com as well. We'll be starting up at 6 p.m. Tuesday nights, and we'll be with you throughout the season. Coach, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Take care, Hornets fans.